How's it going, everyone? We're back with another episode of Living Truth in Troubled Times. Here with a very special guest, a man who has changed my life and discipled me in so many ways, and actually has led me on the path that I'm on. Brandon Boatwright, aka Coach Boat.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. That's quite the introduction.
Of course, I just want to start off by introducing yourself to everyone with your testimony.
Yeah. So, like you said, if I don't know you guys, my name's Brandon. I coached football for a while, and so you get the name Coach Boat, and it kind of just sticks with you, even though I don't coach anymore. Yeah. So my testimony is a lot like kids who grow up in the Bible Belt. They go to church every Sunday, every Wednesday. And it's just one of those things that you do it because your family does it. And so that's what I did. And I remember I, um, I got, what I thought I got baptized. And so I thought I got saved, at a very early age, but I also have an older brother. And really it was one of those where like my brother got baptized and I was like, so they can dip you in water at
Mm.
church, like you can get dunked. I was like, that looks really cool. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I guess at 8 years old, I finessed my way into the baptistry and got dunked. But I could tell you all the stories, but I didn't know Jesus. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like I knew of Jesus, I knew of God, and I knew the Bible stories that everybody in the Bible Belt grows up listening to, but I didn't actually know Jesus as my Lord and Savior. Fast forward to high school. God's kind of blessed me with some athletic abilities. Nothing like, aforementioned Jeff Regan, who it's also his birthday today. So shout out to Jeff for that. But, God kind of blessed me with a little bit of athletic ability. And so I really started to find that idol in sports. And it was fun. But it also, because it became that idol, it also started having this perfectionism in me. And I really wanted to give. I didn't want to, but it ended up going this way because again, idols are very um, they're very deceiving because in the moment you're like, well, this is what I'm called to do. It's like, no, you're called to glorify God.
Mm-hmm.
You're not called to make football or make sports or make band or make whatever idol that you have an idol. You're just called to glorify God. And so, and we can talk about that more later. But anyways, I took off in the sports world and really dove into that. And because of that, you get the parties and the popularity. And for me, it was girls and things of that nature. And so I was at every party. I always justified it by saying, well, I don't drink, I don't smoke, so we're good, right? And so that's how I would justify myself going. And I went, and it was great. Um, but it was also one of the most depressing times, if not the most depressing time of my life, is because I was trying to live two lives. I knew, again, I knew of Jesus, and I wanted to follow him, but I just would rather go to the parties. I would rather look cool than, um, live the way that Jesus called me to live. And so I actually didn't take till my junior year of high school. And a friend of ours, a family friend of ours, a really close friend of mine, Amanda Allison, she had gone to a party, 17 years old, and she went to this party, just like any other high school party. There's drugs, alcohol, whatever. Long story short, she ended up getting killed at this party. And I talked to my youth pastor, and I said, "Man, like I don't get this. I don't understand this." And um, I remember him asking me. He said, "Hey, if that was you, are you going to heaven?" And I never thought of it that way. I never thought, you know, how many times you see Jesus talk about life's like a vapor. You read Solomon in Ecclesiastes, it talks about, again, life is meaningless and it's here today, gone tomorrow kind of deal. And I never thought of that. And so for him to ask me that question, it really finally stunned me to the point of like, no, man, like I've played the church game. I have the good church attendance. I have the, you we had like Sparkies and Cubbies and other things. And so you have all like the merits, Like
Mhm.
I brought all my merits to the Lord, but I never actually brought my heart to the Lord. And so in that moment, I brought my heart to the Lord. Like, hey, man, I'm a black-hearted, wicked sinner, and
Mhm.
I am in desperate need of a savior. Because if that was me, I'm I'm spending eternity in hell.
Yeah.
And so that was a life changing moment for me. And it wasn't. I wish I could come back and say, from that moment after being saved, getting baptized, like for real,
Mhm.
that my life was much better and I lived a completely different life because I really didn't.
Mhm.
And it was a lot about the people that I hung around. And so that's why I think we'll talk about discipleship here in a little bit. Why
Mhm.
discipleship is such a big deal is because I kept running with the same group. And so
Yeah.
I was saved and like I wanted Jesus to be my Lord and my Savior, not just my Savior, but I was around the wrong people. And so it's one of those where like you just keep doing the same old things because you're around the same old people and you never got yourself into the right group. And for me, my testimony doesn't really like take off. Like God doesn't begin to like really move until I get into college. And that was a crazy thing just to come up here to Fayetteville. Like I've been coming up here my entire life, going to Razorback games for, all the sports, but to actually move away from home and to be out of my house that I'd lived in with my parents and my brother for 18 years and to come up here and it's like, all right, you got kind of a new start.
Mhm.
And my freshman year was a little difficult. I think everybody's freshman year is a little difficult. Um, and I wasn't really involved in a church at all. Again, I wasn't exactly like living my high school life of going to parties and stuff like that, but it was more of, like, man, I just almost like apathetic because nobody was like, hey, you need to get up. We got to go to church. It was
Yeah.
like, well, I'll stay up till 2,
Yeah.
3 a.m. in the morning. It's like, 9 a.m. service. I'm good, man. And honestly, my sophomore year, I came in and I was like, okay, I really need to get involved in a church. And some friends of ours, me and my roommate, who were from Cabot, who came up here, they said, hey, Cross Church Fayetteville is a great church. You should get involved. This is where we go. They have a college ministry called C3. You should check it out. So we get involved, and by involved I mean it was like we would go to small group and I would never say anything, which
Yeah.
me saying that to you,
Yeah.
you're like, dude, that's not. So literally,
Yeah.
man, I would sit in a group. I think my leader, I think his name was Logan. I think
Mm.
like that just tells you, man.
Yeah.
I was full-fledged sideline, like never once put my foot on the field kind of
Yeah.
deal. And I go home my Christmas, my sophomore year, and a girl I was dating for a long time. That relationship broke off, which should have broken off a long time ago. But wounded people need wounded people to share wounds with, and that's kind of what we did.
Mhm.
That's a sermon for another day for you guys. Anyways, so, uh, man, I'm really like I'm struggling because I go, am I supposed to come back here?
Mhm.
And I was like, God, I know you, and I know I've given my life to you, but man, like living it was so hard for me. And I remember this so vividly. I got on my bed. And this is like 11 midnight, and I'm just crying. And I
Mhm.
had this big old study Bible um, that has footnotes and everything. Literally, open it up to Psalm 23. Never read Psalm 23 before,
Mhm.
mind you. Like I could quote like a couple scriptures, but I was not a like I never actually got into the
Like,
word.
really dived
Oh
in.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Wow.
no, 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 no. And so for me, I remember reading Psalm 23 and I was just praying like, God, you are my shepherd.
Mhm.
Um, and I need you. I need you to lead me by green pastures and still waters. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know, man. I really don't know. And uh, man, in that moment, it's just so overwhelming peace. Like just like, hey, I got you. Just
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
trust me. I got you. And because I didn't know if I was going to come back up to Fayetteville. Honestly, I
Mhm.
was like, well, I've already got a year and a half done, and I came into college with um, enough credits for a semester. So essentially, I have an associate's. It's like I can go to the community school, community college right down the road, ASUBB,
Mhm.
get my associates, and dip on out of here.
Mhm.
Um, and so for me, it was like, okay, God, like I trust you, and I know I'm going back to the University of Arkansas. I know I'm switching my major. I wanted to work for ESPN, so I was doing the whole broadcast journalism thing. That obviously did not work out. I'll have to tell you a story another time about that. It just God made it very clear, like, bro, that you ain't doing this. And so I know I'm going back. And the first week, or no, not even the first week, before we get back up there, I started hearing my roommate was like, "Hey, have you ever heard about passion?" And I was like, what are you talking about? Like passion, like that's inside of you? He goes, "No, there's a church conference called Passion." It's like, okay. He goes, "It's for college kids." I'm like, okay. He goes, "We should go." Okay, like, all
Let's
right,
go. Yeah.
let's do it. And he goes, "Well, it's $100, bro."
Whew.
So let me a little backstory because you're like $100, like, bro, like just
Yeah.
spend $100. So a little backstory. Um, so my brother's at Harding, right? Um, Dad got decided to start his own business when we were in high school, and it wasn't working.
Mhm.
I had to go work for the mail service, the USPS, making $200 a week.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
and
not.
so going through Harding tuition, Arkansas tuition, Dad only making $200 a week, and my mom's a nurse, but it's not like she doesn't work for Walmart nurse. She's
Yeah.
just a regular old
Mhm.
registered nurse. Um, dude, bro, we didn't have that.
Yeah.
Like I, man, we like I started working at the Boys and Girls Club my sophomore year. Dude, I just started working, man, because I knew like I couldn't ask mom and dad for money,
Mhm.
and that was hard. And so I kid you not, um, he goes, "Hey, it's $100." I was like, "Bro, all I got is 100.
Mm.
That's all I had.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything saved up. And I
Yeah.
didn't have Coach Bode as an econ teacher to tell me like, hey, you should you should budget this."
Yeah.
Um, that's all I had. Literally, that's all I
Mhm.
had. And I said, "Bro, I don't have stuff for gas. I don't have like where are we gonna stay?" And dude, it's just like God's so good, man. They had us a place to stay. We stayed at, surprisingly enough, a girl from our small group. So again, just going back to the whole discipleship theme,
Mhm.
a girl from our small group lived in Houston or is from Houston. We stayed at this massive house. I'd sleep on the couch. We took two. It was me, and my roommate. We took two girls with us because they're like, "Hey, we want to go, and we'll pay for your gas." So I don't pay for any gas.
There
I
you go.
don't pay for anything to eat. I don't pay for anything to sleep. Literally, all I had to pay was the ticket,
$100. Yeah.
was the $100. Like, and I pay, and we get down there. Louis Giglio's down there. Matt Chandler's down there. Passion Band's down there. Like everybody's like the
Yeah.
who's who. Like
Yeah.
they're all there. And you know, Louis starts off his sermon talking about tetelestai. And dude, I got like chills right now talking about this because this is just so like this is just God's so good, man. He starts talking about tetelestai and it is finished, and he's like, so all this running that you're doing, it's over. Like when Jesus said it is finished, he meant it is finished. So
Yeah.
why you got to keep doing this? So long story short, dude, that weekend changed my life. I came back from Houston, Texas. I told my roommate in the car, I mean, you got 9 hours, so you're in there a while. But I told
Yeah.
him in the car probably multiple times, I was like, dude, I'm a new person because of this weekend.
Yeah.
And man, got heavily involved in a small group. Fast forward to end of sophomore year, into junior year, lead a small group, and then junior year, senior year, led a small group. And I changed again. I wanted to work for ESPN, go into like, all right, God, you want me to teach? So I I switched my major, go into kinesiology, teaching, whatever, and I start teaching and coaching, and I love it because I'm like, man, I just get to disciple young guys all the time, and sure, like we'll talk about football, but
Yeah.
no, it's really so much more than just the game that you play and the weights that you lift, and I love that part,
Mhm.
and so yeah, man, that is what kind of started me off into this whole coaching journey. Coached for 1 year in Marion, Arkansas. It's just like Northeast Arkansas.
Mhm.
Gave me a whole new perspective of like what hard is.
Yeah.
Because I mean, these kids, dude, I love those kids because
Mhm.
if they knew that you loved them truly for who they are,
Mhm.
they would do anything for you. And I love those kids.
Yeah.
Um, and then I got it back over here, um, a year later. So this is now what, 2018. Go to Elmwood, and then after a year there, I was at RHS, and I've been at RHS ever since. I coached for 8 years. I got out 3 years ago. We had our first son, or our first kid, and now since then we've added a girl to our daughter, um, and that's a lot of fun. But I knew, like, a lot of people ask me, like, Coach Bo, why'd you get out? Like, do you not like coaching? I'm like, no, man, I love coaching.
Yeah.
Um, like I like still coach my son and still coach my daughter. I coach like random kids, and I literally stopped our neighborhood kid the other day. He was like throwing a base or throwing a football with his dad, and I like stopped and coached him. And my wife was like, "You can't just coach random people." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." So, anyways, um, but man, I knew I just spent too much time away from them, and it was hard for me because I knew God put me here to be a great dad.
Mhm.
And I don't think me, me personally, I don't think I could have been a great dad and a great coach. And so one of them had to give up. And I
Yeah.
knew my kids are going to have 1,000 coaches in their life, but they only have one dad. And so
Mhm.
that's why I stepped away. And I knew God was calling me to something more. Like, I just felt the Holy Spirit just keep telling me, just be patient, keep waiting, and just like keep your yes on the table. And literally overnight, God gave me this vision of starting a nonprofit, and uh, I I was like, I don't know if it's like, how like Moses, like back in Exodus, Moses tells God like, hey, you got the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Essentially, like,
Yeah.
dude, I stutter, I killed a guy. Like, I just
Yeah.
like, I'm not the guy you want to use. God goes, great, you're exactly the guy I want to use.
Perfect.
That's
Yep.
essentially what I was doing. I was like, God,
Mhm.
like I've disqualified myself so many times.
Mhm.
And I took it to my mentor. I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And he goes, sure. And then he calls me a month later. He's like, hey, are you still thinking about this? I was like, I mean, sort of, kind of. He goes, well, I got a business idea for you. So he sent me that. I immediately, the very next day, go over to Hunter Hill's office or classroom. It was right next door to mine. Said, Hunter, what do you think about this? He goes, dude, I'm so in. And I told him, and I've told him ever since that day. That was January of 2023.
Mhm.
Ever since that day, I said, Hunter, if you would have said no, I wouldn't have done this.
Hmm.
But because you believed in it, you gave me the strength to go,
Mhm.
bro, let's run with it. Let's just
There you
figure
go.
it out.
Yeah.
And so, now so we run a nonprofit called Seen and Improve, basically growing boys into men through biblical literacy, emotional intelligence, and life skills, or what we call dad skills. So these are boys who have just like we call it a unique dad situation. Um, and really just try to disciple them to become a man of God, and to bring about generational change. So, yeah, it's Coach
Yeah.
Boat in
There you
about
go.
10 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, there's so much obviously I've heard before, but there's stuff
Yeah.
I haven't also haven't. And I think, passion is also an awesome thing. I look
Yeah.
at my life and I see where I have been, struggling, but I guess a service like that where,
Mhm.
you make the choice to go, where it's something
Mhm.
you're giving up time, like we're
Yeah.
usually like, whenever you're doing whatever you're doing. But instead you chose to go and do something, or like those have been points in my life where
Mhm.
it's changed me. And I think it's so like, football is an idol, definitely a big struggle in today's
Yeah.
world. And it's kind of crazy that, you were able to make that change when you were in so deep.
Mm.
When you look at a lot of, I mean, look at, Rogers as an
Mhm.
example. It's just
Mhm.
there's so many people who today are going to church. They have this two-way life where I could even say that I used to live that two-way life.
Mhm.
But, so many people are doing that today, and I think that's being saved, just, getting baptized
Mhm.
once, or even just going to church every Sunday is all it
Mhm.
takes. And, that's sadly not the truth. That's
Yeah.
just, the Satan's lies holding them, from, truly following Jesus.
Mhm.
And I think it's so awesome that you were able to make that change, make that step, and I guess take that pivot. And so, obviously one question I would have for you, and I guarantee so many people would want to know, is like, what was that critical point where you made that change that you would recommend to other people? Where it's like, you could see that it's like, okay, everybody else could do this. Like, this
Yeah.
is where I really made that rebound.
Yeah. Man, honestly, it's getting yourself around like-minded believers.
Mm,
I told you my junior year I got saved, but then my senior year I really didn't live like I mean that much different.
yeah.
I try to read my Bible a little more, but that's again that's me. That's
Hmm.
me trying to help me. And bro, I was the one who put myself in the ditch to begin with.
Yeah.
And so like I can't pull myself out.
Hmm.
Um, I think about Mark 2, man, and the paralytic laying on the mat and his four friends bringing him. Um, and Jesus says, "Because I see their faith." And so for me, it was about I got a mentor in college. My roommate in college was and still is. Dude's a phenomenal guy. Like he's married, he's got two kids, loves the Lord, works for Walmart, but like truly loves the Lord. Like honestly, wouldn't be shocked one day if him and his family moved to Africa and he's leading worship down there. Like that, hey, just that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so, dude, the amount of times like we would stay up in our quadruplex there in Fayetteville, we would stay up till like 11 midnight. Bro, literally we're having like full-fledged, like we were podcasting just with like out of camera,
Yeah.
but we would talk about so many like life questions and biblical questions, and then we would bring those to our small groups that we started to lead and to really be a part of.
Hmm.
And man, when you just get yourself around like-minded believers, um that's where growth and change happens, because man, it's not about you.
Hmm.
Like, you know, and we'll get into these later on, but like a lot of the questions that were asked or that, were submitted were starts with like how can I? And like that those three words,
Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
how can I blank? How can I blank? How can I blank? But you can't.
Hmm.
It's all God can. You
You can't.
can't.
Hmm.
But when you put yourself in that right circle, and when you put yourself in the right group of people, like there's a reason why Jesus came and then got 12 dudes to follow him.
Hmm.
Like, because this whole thing isn't about just you flying solo. Like we love the solo story. We love like track and field and swimming and gymnastics, and like those are great athletes, like solo athletes. But like, dude, this is such a team game, and you
Hmm.
got to have the right people. So for me, that switch really was like getting myself around the right kinds of people who, hey man, we're not going to go to a party. Hey man, we don't talk like this. Hey, we
Hmm.
don't we don't do these certain things. Um, because then that allowed me to really start to rub off on them, and they started to rub off on me in a way where I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I'm definitely um, growing in my faith, and that's what I always ask, guys nowadays. It's like, hey, are the people that you're hanging out with the most? Do they grow you closer to the Lord or grow you closer to the world?
Yeah.
Because if you look more like the world when you're around them, then bro, you ain't growing closer to Jesus.
Yeah.
You're growing to look more like the world. And so you got to put yourself in the right kinds of spaces and places, and that starts with the people that you hang around.
Yeah. I that's just a great. I said to so many people because I feel like the reason so many people are stuck in their sin today, especially at like Rogers, even people I know in my past in Wisconsin, it's just like they like, oh, but my friends are doing it. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, you just gotta get away from those people. It's not that you have to unfriend them or just like never talk to them again,
yeah,
but it's like, you know, two people that are drowning aren't gonna help each other,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
and if you're drowning, you can't help another person that's drowning. You're just gonna end up falling
yeah,
back into that pit. And it
yeah,
just you gotta get away from those people, not to shame them or to get away from say they're worse than just to help yourself.
yeah,
And then maybe that would lead them to you.
yeah,
And I think that's like so important today. And I would say to everyone watching and everyone who hears this is just find people who are looking towards the Lord and like not looking toward themselves. And then I've heard it so many times where like even with relationships,
hmm
like you're talking about earlier, it's just a relationship shouldn't be two people looking at each other. It should be people looking at towards the Lord,
Mhm.
because that's the best relationship. And, it's a true relationship when God's in the middle. It's true love between two people when God's in the middle. And
Mhm.
that's like truly the relationship people should have in their life. And they
Mhm.
should be influenced by, because that type of influence is going to lead you to the Lord. And like
Mhm.
you said, it's going to make you look more
Mhm.
towards the Lord than rather than of more of the world, which is so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things when you're talking this is what I was flipping to is I think about, like, okay, so you have friends who, and they're not good influences, and it's like, okay, so how do I dip out of this? How do I find the right type of friends? Well, one, you begin to pray that God gives you, like, vision and the eyes to see the right kind of people.
Hmm.
Um, two, practically, you probably should stop talking to these people, and, like, I'm talking social media, I'm talking text, I'm talking whatever your way is that you communicate with these people. Um, but so I think about Matthew 10. So Jesus is sending out the 12 disciples, right? And he really kind of gives them instructions, like, hey, this is what you should do. Like, when you
Hmm.
go out and you preach the gospel and you share the gospel, and essentially you live the life that I've called you to when I said, follow me, this is what you should do. He says, uh, picking up in verse 14, and if anyone will not receive you or listen to your words, shake off the dust from your feet when you leave your house or town. And truly I say to you, it will be more bearable on the day of judgment for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah than for that town. And essentially, what Jesus is saying is, like, man, like, you don't have to shame them, you don't have to judge them, but don't let those people have power over you.
Yeah.
Like, when he talks about, like, shake the dust off your feet, like, this is an old Hebrew way of, like, when you, I heard it said this way. It's like the old Hebrew way of, if you step on, like, Gentile land or pagan land, it was deemed unclean, and so
Hmm.
literally they would, like, shake the dust off because they didn't want any of, like, the paganness
Yeah.
of that dirt getting on them. And so it's not we're not telling you, like, hey, go unfriend these people, unfollow these people, and then just start ridiculing them. No, like, man, just, like, go find you the right type of guys, right type of girls, and go be in that community with those people. And
Hmm.
if you don't have that, and you're like, hey, I really, I don't see anybody, because that's the thing with high school kids. Most high school kids would probably tell you, hey, man, I, I don't know where to start. Okay, first, start with yourself running after the Lord. And as you run after the Lord, begin to pray. God brings people alongside to help you run.
Hmm.
And I promise you, He will. Like, God's not going to make you run this race by yourself.
Yeah.
Go all the way to Hebrews 12, right? Because we are surrounded by what? A great cloud of witnesses. That
Hmm.
means you are around a great cloud of people who can witness and testify to the glory of God, not who can witness and testify to the glory of a bottle
Yeah.
or pornography or drug or whatever else that, so easily entangles us, to keep quoting it. Put yourself around the right types of people, and don't shame the people who are doing
Hmm.
wrong. Lost people do lost things.
Yeah.
And that's not like a super deep thing, but it's pretty profound when you think about, like, well, why do they do that? Well, because they're lost,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know? And let's not forget, like, I was once lost too, and it's only because of God's mercy that He saved me.
Hmm.
And but that doesn't mean, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with all these people all the time. No, man, get yourself around the right type of people.
Hmm.
Get you some people in your life who are going to bring you on a mat and put you eyeball to eyeball with the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And if you don't have those people, then start praying. Okay, God, who can these people be?
Yeah.
And I promise you, He's going to show you.
Yeah. And that's just right. And I love how you said, like, God gives you the eyes to see who you are. And I just
Mm-hmm.
always think about, when I'm looking at somebody who calls himself a Christian, because I know I used to call myself that all the time, and I was living a two-faced lifestyle where I'd
Mm-hmm.
be, not obviously doing like crazy bad stuff, but still not living the
Mm-hmm.
life that God called for me. And I just look at it as, hey, look at them by their fruit. Are
Yeah,
they producing fruit in their life?
yeah.
And that's just like something you simply see. And that's when I look at somebody and it's like, okay, I know this person's got fruit
Mm-hmm.
in their life. I know this person is bearing fruit of the spirit and just constantly loving, constantly has peace and just is just doing all these amazing godly things and the spirit's definitely moving in them. And those are just the people that you should have in your life because obviously, if
Yeah.
they're moving in that person's life and you're constantly with that person, you're trying to, grow with the Lord, the Lord's going to move in your life.
Hmm.
It's just going to be a room with God in it at all times. And so it kind of just brings me to like this next question I had for you is just, you obviously have made this long journey and this this great journey of of this path of just slowly climbing that mountain and growing closer to the Lord, discipling
Hmm.
people and doing all these things. But what has been that verse or a couple of verses that have just
Mm,
led
mm,
you through this? Or it's like when you might be in a time of temptation or in struggle, it's like, hey, this is where you fall back on.
yeah. Well, one is Psalm 23. David talks about, the Lord is literally the very first line. The Lord is my shepherd; I lack nothing. It's like from right there, like bro, that'll preach a whole life. Like
Yeah.
bro, like you don't lack anything. Like God is your shepherd. And then Jesus later on in the Gospels when he comes, he's like, I am the good shepherd. And so it's just like it's so good. But I also think about man on any note card I write, a letter to whether it's a staff member or a student. It's always Ephesians 3:20, and it's
Hmm.
basically now him who is able to do abundantly more than we could ever think or imagine, according to the power at work within us. And I just like man, like that's my life's verse because like dude, you think about where you were and you think about where you're at now. Like if you were to tell me like, hey, at 18, bro, you're gonna be you know, running a nonprofit. You got two kids. You've been married. My wife and I will be married 6 years. She just told me, she told me yesterday, dudes don't like, y'all need to like write this stuff down. She's like, hey, today was our anniversary. I'm like, it was? It's like, no, like, is June 14th is our anniversary. She goes, no, today was our first date anniversary. So, first date. So, not only like, not like when you started dating,
Hmm.
when you proposed, when you got married.
Yep.
I got hit with this was our first date anniversary.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh man.
all right. She goes, so you owe me ice cream. I'm like, sister girl, it's like 10 o'clock. She goes, well, sometime this week. And I said, yes, ma'am. But
Yeah.
if you were to tell me all this stuff at 18, I'm like, bro, like, no, man, like that, like there's no way because the problem with being 18 is you have a very small view of the world. You have a very small view of your situation, and everything is just like so um, skewed because all you know is typically now you're a little different because you go from Wisconsin to Northwest Arkansas, but most kids generally speaking, grow up in one place. And so that's all you've ever known.
Yeah.
And so the town, the people, all the things, good and bad, it's
Hmm.
all you've ever known. And so for me, like, man, like when I think about it, it's like now him who could do abundantly more. It's like, yeah, God's done so much for me, for my family in ways that I never could have thought of or imagined. And it's just because of the sovereign hand of God staying on me and saying, "Hey, look, yes, you made a mistake. I still love you. And you screwed up right here. I still love you. You're in a season of depression. I still love you. You're in a season of, you know, addiction. I still love you. You're in a season of whatever. I still love you. I'm going to keep my hand on you. Why? It's because I bought you with a price and there's nothing
Hmm.
that you can do to
Yeah.
get rid of it,
Yeah.
And so like that for me is my life because I'm like, just say yes and let
Hmm.
God do the rest. If you just say yes, God can do abundantly more than what I could do.
Yeah.
Like I can only do so much.
Hmm.
But I know when I put my yes on the table and I just say, all right, God, like let you go to work. I mean, it's
So it was.
this, my life is an example of
Hmm.
what God's done. Like I shouldn't be here. Like Amanda Allison, that was me.
Yeah.
I should have been that person.
Hmm.
And yet here I am.
Hmm.
And it's it all and only because of God.
Yeah. That's one thing I've always recognized. I know I'm young still, but like I can even say like earlier on, it was like I had no idea. Football was such an idol for me. It
Mhm.
was like
Yeah.
It was so bad. I mean, I look at my life, I was like, I thought for sure it was gonna be football for the last, I mean, I could say probably 10 years.
Mhm.
10 years of my life, probably. I guess it'd been about a year ago, probably junior year. I was like, okay, yeah, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got Braxton Lindsay and Jeff Regan on the field. Yeah, I don't know if I'm to
Yeah.
that standard. I
Yeah.
don't know if I'll ever be there, but
Yeah.
it's just, I lived this life for so long thinking I knew what I was
Yeah.
gonna do because like I can do it.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, it's like those are the worst things you can do.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
No.
That's why. I mean, I would even say like I've told you guys this before. It's just Mark 10:27. It's like all is, with man, it's not possible. With God, all things are possible.
Yeah.
And it's just like I look at my life and it's like that. Like you said, it's an example of it. It's like
Yeah.
my life has changed around. I'm now, pursuing the Lord, glorifying the Lord. And I'm happiest I've ever been
Yeah.
doing something for Him and rather do
Yeah.
something for me. And I
Yeah.
think it's so cool. And honestly, like even talking about football, just obviously that changed the idols I had in my life,
Mhm.
and, like, I look about the discipleship that you had in my life in
Mhm.
that time.
Mhm.
Junior year for me, as you guys know, was a struggle. Moved here from Wisconsin, just football, football, football. That's what I heard football was a thing here, and I was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
Mom, let's go." I'm excited to the play, and obviously I didn't start, didn't get to play as much, and I just was like I got mad. I was
Mhm.
sad. I was constantly just in this roundabout of, trying to satisfy myself with football and just
Mhm.
trying to, if I did good football practice that day, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that was a good day. But if I had a
Mhm.
bad practice day, I was like, oh, that day sucks.
Yeah.
And, I even going into that summer was probably, I would say even the spring, I was like, I realized, okay, I could still try to win and win this position. But then I guess, this last, it's almost a year now.
Mhm.
This last May, I introduced to you by, Jeff.
Mhm.
And that's when we started going to your house and you started
Mhm.
discipling me, teaching me.
Mhm.
And, I love that group of guys,
Mhm.
AJ, Jeff, and you. And just we
Mhm.
had these conversations. And just constantly just talking about the Lord.
Mm.
And I just learned, I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. It's like
Yeah.
I was talking to a football coach that you were a football coach and you did all these things and
Yeah.
amazing things. And I was even taught in a room with Jeff, who is an amazing football player, AJ, an amazing football player.
Mhm.
And just having conversations with you guys, it even made me lead me away from it in the sense where pulled me away from football and pulled me closer to God.
Mhm.
And like even just talking to you, having all those conversations, I just realized I was like, my life isn't in football. My
Mhm.
life never was meant to be in football,
Yeah.
and I was blind to that for so long.
Yeah.
And, then through your teachings and your discipleship and everything you've mentored me on over that summer, it just led me to, learn that, hey, this life
Yeah.
is for me is to glorify God, to spread the word and to
Mhm.
do all these things. And obviously, like you helped me go to Spurgeon and
Yeah.
like all
Yeah.
these things that this amazing teachings you've done in my life and so many other people's lives. I can even look at Jeff and AJ and I just know that you've moved in their life so much.
Yeah.
And so I know, like, as you talked about your testimony, there's been people that have moved in your life.
Yeah.
And so, what are those teachings that you've been taught
Yeah.
and that you continue to use today and that are still applied to your life every single day?
Yeah. Whew, that's good. Man, I appreciate it because really, like, I view it as discipleship, but like I tell people all the time, I have the greatest job in the world. I get to hang out with high school kids all day. Like it's so much fun. Like seriously, I mean, I don't have to worry about like, did I meet this quota? Did I meet that quota? Like, what's the bottom line? Are we like how are sales here? Or how are sales there? Like, God did not make me a business person. Like he didn't. Um, but I will say, like, to people who do watch this and they're like, well, you don't understand how much time I've put in sports. Like, I'm not saying sports or anything else is bad. Like, I want you to do sports, I want you to do like throw yourself in academically if God's blessed you with those abilities. But one of the things I always tell you guys, and one of the things I try to remind myself is like every season of life is going to be different. So like for you in 2 months or realistically in 4 months, your life, that season of life is going to be completely different. But the goal is still the same. And that goal is to glorify God with the gifts and the talents that he's given you.
Hmm.
And so if those gifts and talents for some of the people who watch, it's like, hey, well, I'm really tall and I'm really fast. Okay, great. You'd be a really great track person. Glorify God with that.
Mhm.
Give God honor and glory and praise. It's not you running on the track. He's the one who's given you those talents and abilities. Bless him with that. Okay, well, Coach Bode, I'm really smart. Okay, great. You've got a 5.0. That's awesome. When somebody puts a microphone in your face, or when somebody tells you to write an essay to get into a college, glorify God with that. And because it's him.
Mhm.
It's always been him, and it's only been him. And the moment, and I wish like I would have learned this earlier. It's like, and the moment we try to like take our place for God, like things don't end well for us. And nowhere in scripture do they end well, and nowhere in like my life does it end well. Um, but back to your original question on mentors, man, my dad and I are super close now, and we've always been super close. My dad's just been, rock solid for me. Um, and then I think my roommate in college, he and still is a big influence on me. He's the only person I still talk to from from my hometown, and so I graduated with 600 people. I talked to one person, so
Yeah.
but really, man, the biggest influence I've had on my life is another guy named Brandon. He was my mentor starting in my sophomore year of college. Um, dude, like I still remember uh, being in the lobby after church. I was talking to our student pastor. Say, I got this guy. I want you to meet. It's like, all right, cool. Say, Brandon, this is Brandon. It's like, hey, Brandon, and we shook hands. And dude, that guy, um, man, like I owe a lot to the man that I am because of him. He like really just took me under his wing. He was our officiant at our wedding. He's now a board member for a nonprofit. Him and I would go to there's this Starbucks there in Springdale. We'd go meet. I think it's Tuesdays. I feel like it's either Tuesdays or Thursdays. He'll probably correct me if he. I'll send him this and he'll tell me, hey, it's either Tuesdays or Thursdays. Um, but man, we would meet at 6:30, and we would literally just open up the Word, and we walked through Ephesians, we walked through Romans, we walked through a few other books in the Bible, and we just walked verse by verse. And he's like, "All right, what does this mean?" And dude, it helped me read the Bible. It helped me understand the Bible. It helped me um, like go back and see how a lot of stuff in the New Testament is really just connected to the Old Testament,
Yeah.
right? And dude, he's always been there. Like, and even when I went to Marion, you know, I I knew no one in Marion, Arkansas, and really, really hard 11 months for me, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, all of it. Um, he we talked probably once a week, man, and there would just be times where I'd just break down on the phone, like, man, like I don't know why I'm here, and he would just always remind me, like, dude, God's got you there for a reason. Um, and now being eight, yeah, 8 years out, I see it. I have the
Mhm.
perspective for it. So yeah, him, and my dad, and probably my roommate throughout college. Those are probably the three biggest influences in my life, just in terms of like godly men. And they were all at like three distinct stages. So my dad, obviously from birth to 18, and that right there is just a story in and of itself. My dad was put into foster care at 4, was adopted at 8. Just and even his adopted parents weren't very great. I actually never met my biological grandparents, and so like for all intents and purposes, my dad should be a statistic. Therefore, I should be a statistic. But my dad said no. Hey, that's not going to happen, and so he raised me and my brother. And so from birth all the way through high school, and then obviously my roommate for those 4 years in college. It was me and him, and that's where we kind of learned a lot about it ourselves and the church and God. and our walk, and then really Brandon kind of taking that mantle, and I mean, to this day we probably don't talk once a week anymore just because we both live up here, but we at least talk once every 2 weeks or so. And yeah, man, he's just been so good for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's just so awesome because, like, I know that you've definitely used those towards, teaching all the people you have today and
Yeah.
discipling all the people you have today. And it's just, I, it's a cycle that I love that I see so often that I want to do one someday. It's
Hmm.
like, you get discipled for all this time when you're
Hmm.
lost, when you're struggling, when you're young, and
Yeah.
you don't know where you're at. And there's this man of God who just comes in and just helps you and disciples.
Mm.
He's not perfect, but
Yeah.
he is helping you.
Hmm.
And he's showing you because he at some point was lost and
Hmm.
there was a person, and it just keeps going over and over and over. And I just love to see that because I mean, I look at my life, and the biggest pivotal points in my life are helped by men of God.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
youth pastor, he was the one who just told me, he's like, "Yo, you're like kind of like this is not the way to live. Like,
Mm. Yeah.
the lukewarmness is not the way. You're living a two-way life. That's not following Jesus." And he's the
Hmm.
one who really like revealed to me. It's like, hey, well, let's actually like
Mm. Yeah.
put your faith in Jesus here and truly let him sit on the throne of your life. And I think like you're just another one of those people in my life where it's like, hey, another pivotal point in my life where it's like,
Yeah.
I need a man of God to help me out. And then, now I'm going off into evangelism, going off and doing all this because of you and because
Yeah.
the teachings and because obviously also because of your mentors in your
Mm.
life, your
Yeah.
disciple, or,
Yeah.
all this things that just come together because of God
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just strings it all together. It's just so awesome and honestly amazing. And I just, talk about men of God. And I think that's definitely a big thing that I want to talk
Yeah.
about today, which is like, how do we become men of God? What is a man of God? And, you know, how should men of God be in society today? Because
Mm.
I look
Yeah.
at it so often. And, I guess the question right now would be, you know, we look at it and a man has been destroyed in today's
Yeah.
society so
Yeah.
much. You look, it's just being attacked with so many ways of just how men should sit down, men should, you know,
Mm.
not be leaders, not do all these things, and honestly should lust over women. And it's just, men have been led in such a wrong way where I
Mm.
think it's just so distorted. It's
Mm.
not truly how it was supposed to be. So, in your opinion, what is a man and what is a man of God and
Yeah.
what it should be?
Yeah. Well, we gotta. There's a time crunch to answer this one. Man, uh, truly, um, a man of God starts when I got this from Joby Martin, when his need exceeds his ego.
Mm,
Like when a man's need, and need being need for Jesus, right? When his need now exceeds his ego or his pride, okay, now you can be used. Now you're gonna bend your knee, right? Because in Revelation, John says every knee will bow, every tongue will confess,
mhm,
right? And so now you can bend your knee because your need for Jesus now exceeds your ego of, hey man, let me work, let me play, let me experiment, whatever that is that you feel is so enticing and addicting to fall into. You know, that's when the change happens. And so um, I don't I don't have all the answers, to be honest with you, on like what a man of God looks like. Like I mean, I just look at the Bible. I mean, I just look at Jesus.
yeah,
I look at, you know, Paul specifically tells us in Ephesians 5, like, you're gonna, love your wife and give up your life. Or you're gonna love your wife like Christ loved the church, and Christ gave up his life for us.
mhm,
So being willing to go that far, he says it again in First Corinthians in another letter. He says, be watchful, stand firm, let all that you do, or stand firm, act like men, let all you do be done in love. Um, and so, if you are watchful and you stand firm. Notice he says, stand firm, don't sit, right? Don't be passive, don't be timid. Um, and then let all you do be done in love. Um, that's the hard part is letting all you do be done in love, because it's like you have in society you have the macho machismo, like I'm gonna do it all by myself kind of guy, or you have like the very passive, um, honestly, just kind of like a yes man type of
Mhm.
guy. And it's like, no, like Jesus flipped tables. Jesus got upset.
Yeah.
But again, it's all in love,
Yeah. Doing
right?
it for others.
Right, and it's not, w- you know, we're not swaying one way or the next, and that's hard. And being a man of God is one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing to do, because you can be a man of God for 30 years and then fall.
Yeah.
And now that's all people remember the rest of their life.
Mhm.
And that's hard. That's like, man, bro, if you think for a second that wouldn't be me, you see this pastor or you see, celebrity or whatever, and your first thought is they got what's coming, or shouldn't have been talking to this girl, shouldn't have been doing these drugs. It's like, bro, that could be you
Yeah.
if it's not for the grace of God, and
Mhm.
for you to wake up every day and say, God, I ain't got this. I don't have any control. Um, and then you go all the way back again, Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd. You lack nothing. Therefore, if God's your shepherd, if God's in control, what do you lack?
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, man, I just think like, being a man of God is a hard task, but it's really it's the only task that we have
Yeah.
here, right? So like, go all the way back to Genesis 2, the very beginning of creation, or in Genesis 1, Genesis 2, and God literally breathes life into Adam. So the very first thing that Adam sees on earth
It's the
is
face
God.
of God. Yeah.
God, I like, dude, come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
but like seeing his dad and being, you know, listening and obeying to what he tells you, um, is truly like, that's why you're here, is to be obedient. And then, the Great Commission, and disciples make disciples, go and share the gospel. And so I think truly, like, man, like, can you can you love like how Jesus loved? Are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to put your life down for your family? Are you willing to, um, again, become like Jesus? Becoming like Jesus doesn't mean getting all the glory and the fame. That literally means dying on a cross.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why Jesus says, pick up your cross daily. And there's also a reason why, at his Last Supper, it wasn't a birthday, it wasn't a celebration. He literally picks up a big old basin and washes
Feet.
disciples' feet. And it's not like they had Air Jordans on all day. I mean, you're walking in dirt, mud, poop,
Mhm.
like all types of stuff. He goes, hey man, let me just put this thing around you,
Yeah.
and let me wash your feet for a second, because that's how much I love you. I'm
Mhm.
willing to serve, and I'm willing to put myself as a servant. And so yeah, just loving the way that Jesus loved, being able to sacrifice, and being able to to serve and be that servant, and not like servant leader. Like, that word is something that we made up. Like, just be a servant, because like servant leader still, like, there's still ego
Yeah.
in that word. Like, I've never really understood that word. I've always wanted to be servant hearted, not a servant leader,
Mhm.
because servant leader still glorifies you. Servant hearted is just from the overflow of your heart. You're gonna do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man, and then just stand firm. And what I mean by that is like, you know, how many times does the Bible tell us like Satan is ready to pounce? He's roaring like a lion. He's ready to steal, kill, and destroy any and everything that we have. So he's ready to steal, our kids and our rob us of our passions and destroy our entire lives and kill everything in it. And I think if if we have this mindset of, well, like, Satan's not real, all right, great, that's exactly where he wants you to be, because now he's going to tear your whole life up.
Mhm.
And so, literally, to stand firm, it goes back to the type of men that you have in your life. For me, dude, I got 2 3 guys right here on my phone who, they have access not only to my phone, they have access to almost everything in my life outside of my bank account.
Mhm.
Because, and I told them, hey, you like you get refrigerator rights or pantry rights. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all get that now when y'all come over to the house. Like, you open it up, you know where everything is.
Yeah.
And, and the point is, it's not so you can just come in and, you know, buffet yourself. It's, I want you to come in and be like, hey man, like, what's wrong with, like, dude, this bread's got mold on it. Like, what's wrong with this part of your life? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, we need to check this, because this is getting out of control, because obviously you haven't touched this portion of your life in a while. So now it's getting moldy and it's getting a little
Mhm.
rotten.
Yeah.
Those dudes are able to come into my life and go, okay, hey man, you got a little pride going on here, or
Mhm.
you don't, like, you seem like you're a little agitated about something, or whatever. And it's because of them that can keep me in the right step with the Lord. Because what men do, and this is the crazy part, and this is what I'm learning, um, since becoming a dad, but like, men become so isolated,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they just think, all right, well, I got my, I'll go hang out with my buddies at work. I'll go golf with my buddies. I'll go do all that. And it's like, no, like, how many of them dudes you gonna call at 2 a.m. and your life's falling apart? How many of them are gonna answer? And if the answer is zero, you ain't got nobody, bro.
Mhm. Yeah.
You've got zero people. And that's a scary place to be. And it's solely because we've been fed this lie of consumption, consumption, consumption. So, how much money, how many girls, how many cars, how many houses, how far up the proverbial work ladder, all that stuff. And it's like, for what? You know? And I just think, like, man, there is a better way. Jesus showed us this better way. The disciples showed us this better way, but it means getting out of your comfort zone, because all those dudes except John, well, I mean, technically Judas betrayed Jesus, but, like, the other ones, all of them except John died a sinner's death.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, were martyred, and
Mhm.
they just left John. And notice what they do to John. They sent him to Patmos by what? By himself.
Mhm.
And so, you know, that's what happened with those dudes. And I think we trade convenience for the gospel. And it's like, well, I'll share the gospel whenever it's convenient,
Yeah, when I
or
feel
I'll,
like it.
yeah, and that's not it, man. That's not, you want to be a man of God, like, dude, you gotta do hard things.
Mhm.
And the this is, living this out is hard. It's easy. You're bent towards sin. Look at Genesis 3. You can thank Adam and Eve when you get to heaven one day. But, like, dude, we're bent towards sin. Um, so it's going to be really easy for you to live to your flesh, but it's going to be really hard for you to live the way that God's called you to live. But there's a reason why He came to give us. Jesus says, "I came to give you life and life abundantly,"
Mhm.
and that's what that is.
Yeah. I think it's so, like, just awesome how you explained it, obviously, with all that. And just, I think what we lack today in men is, loving one another, not loving the chemical compound that goes off in your head where you
Mm-hmm.
get these tingles and you feel happy. No, it's the love where it's you put a knee down for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to do every day for God. And it's like, I love the Lord so much that I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
put a knee down for him. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to serve him. I'm going to praise him. And like you said, it's hard. It's hard to do that every day because
Yeah.
it's easy to tend to your flesh instead of tending to your spirit and praising God in the way you want to.
Yeah.
And to be a man, it is difficult, but that's what we need.
Yeah.
Like I look at the world today, it's like we don't need more wars, we don't need more violence, we don't need more leaders
Yeah.
that are strong and egotistical and puff out their chest. No, we need love in the world, and we needed
Mm-hmm.
that to start with men,
Mm-hmm.
the true leaders, the men who will lead by example, the men who will love others and put others above himself
Mm-hmm.
to then make this world better because that's
Yeah.
just what we need.
And
And
then, yeah. and not to cut you off, but like, and to get men to push back
Mhm.
darkness,
Yeah.
like, stop abdicating your responsibilities to someone else.
Mhm.
Like, no, you're the man.
Yeah.
God made you a man. Now be that man.
Mhm.
Be who God's called you to be,
Yeah.
you know? And like, I like, and it's so hard for me to sit here and talk about what a man of God is because I'm like, I feel like I'm the worst one, and I'm like the one who sucks at this more than anybody else. But, you know, it's, it's, it's really difficult, but there's so much more there. There's so much more life there. And there's
Mhm.
so much more freedom. That's the thing. Is like when we rebel and we live in rebellion at first, it looks and feels like freedom,
Mhm.
but in all reality, you just come back broken and busted and filled with scars and
In a stronghold.
yeah, yeah, and now you've got to fight that off.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, just love and sacrifice and service, and then being able to say, all right, God, like, give me the strength, and now I got to fight off Satan because this thing is real. This war is real. This is
Mhm.
the war that you're actually fighting day in and day out, and this is the battle that, man, you have to know that you're in.
Mhm.
Because I mean, you think about playing a game. Imagine you playing a game and you're on the 30-yard line, and you're like, "Are we even playing? Like, what's
Yeah.
happening here?" And
Yeah.
dude, they're gonna freaking blow you up, and that's
Mhm.
what happens. Is like we treat Satan more as like this, just like loose term, or almost like this fairy tale of like he's red, he's got two horns, and it's like all this stuff, and it's like no, like he's real deal, like he's trying to
Yeah.
destroy
Every day.
your family. Like, you go back to Cain and Abel in Genesis, and it's like Satan is at the door crouching like a lion, like literally ready to pounce. And I just don't think we understand that. Like the Hebrew culture spoke in very image words. Like they only had, I
Mhm.
think, 6 or 8,000 words in their whole language. And so like we don't speak in the West, we don't speak in a very visual term, but like that visual to those people, dude,
Frightening.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, it'll make you wet your pants. But it's the truth.
Yeah.
But, like, how many of us just think of Satan as some, like, little fairy tale factoid
Mhm.
red dust dude, and it's
Yeah.
like, man, like, that he ain't it.
Yeah.
So,
That's why we gotta guard ourselves every day and tend to the spirit because,
yeah,
like you said, he's ready to pounce. And
yeah,
one weakness, one day that you don't take that knee for God, he's gonna take the opportunity to, you know, strap you with lies and put you in that
mhm,
stronghold that you don't know.
yeah,
But yeah, just you know, being a man of God, it's so important. And obviously, what I want to finish this episode off with today is just, talking about what you do and your nonprofit that you've
yeah,
spoken about, and you've kind of given them an overview, and it's super cool. I mean, seeing improved is
yeah,
improving the lives of young men who weren't given that father figure, or
mhm,
maybe not given the father figure, but
yeah,
he's not always there, like you said, unique
yeah,
situations,
yeah,
which is
yeah, yeah,
very important. And you're kind of filling that role in a sense where you're showing them God, you're showing them,
mhm,
how to be a man of God, which we were just talking about, and you're
mhm,
being that lead into them. And
mhm,
so, like you said, you talked about the nonprofit, how it started and where it's going, and what you do with it. But
mhm,
I'm just kind of wondering, like, what's your hope in the future of seeing improve? Because obviously, it is a amazing thing that you're doing, and like you
mhm,
said, you are preparing men for the kingdom, to
mhm,
love others, to put a knee down for God, and also to battle darkness. So, like,
mhm.
what are your hopes going forward with seeing it improved?
Yeah, man, really, I pray Exodus 33 every time. Um, we meet every time we get together. I pray through it. Sometimes out loud, sometimes most of the time in my head of just like God, like, Moses. This is where Moses is talking to God. It's like, God, if you don't go before me, I'm not moving. Like, and I love that because Moses is just like straight up with the Lord, and he says, like, if you don't go, I'm not going. And so for me, it's like I have all these hopes and dreams and like being able to do all these different things with seen and approved. But like if if God ain't going before me, like, bro, I'm not moving. Like
Yeah.
if God doesn't move if God doesn't move here, and God doesn't go before us in this avenue, all right, we're not going down this avenue.
Mhm.
God doesn't go down this avenue, okay, we're not going to go down that avenue. Why? Well, because God's not down there.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to put a comma where God put a period, and I'm not going to put a period where God puts a comma. Like I'm
Mhm.
going to let him do what only he can do,
Yeah.
like what he says he will do.
Mhm.
And so, you know, selfishly, selfishly, I think, like, truly I do. There's 20 million kids in America, just America today, who do not have an active father in the home. So the harvest is there. It's
Mhm.
just growing the laborers. And man, honestly, I think this could. And so we're partnered with Cross Church. Um, so I think Seeing and Improve could be partnered with any church.
Mhm.
And it's like, why? Well, because you probably have teenage boys. Like right now, we use juniors, but you probably have teenage boys. Statistically speaking, one in every four kids. So, if you got four kids, four boys in your youth ministry, you got one.
Mhm.
Statistically speaking, and so the kids are there, and it's just like growing the leaders, and allowing them to step into the calling that God has for them. Because truly, like, man, like I'm passionate because like discipleship, like you cut me open, like discipleship's gonna be what bleeds out of me. Like that's
Mhm.
that's what makes my soul, literally my soul, comes alive. Um, Whereas other people are different, and that's fine. But that I think spiritually speaking, my gift is teaching, and that's just because I've said yes to God, and God's like, okay, just be a vessel, just say yes,
Mhm.
shut up, and just say yes, and just let me handle the rest. And so, um, yeah, I would love to be in every church. I would love to you know be a big nonprofit, but at the end of the day, man, like we got four dudes in this program right now, and um, like this is my heart, just truly, like if these four dudes who'll graduate next year go on in 10 years, 15, 20 years from now, those four dudes have four flourishing marriages, four great um, relationships with their kids, and four out just magnificent walks with the Lord. I've won.
Yeah.
It's been a success. Even if it's just one,
Mhm.
it's been a success. We did it. Like everything else from that, every, every kid, every family, every generation, everything else from that, we've won.
Mhm.
Now, here's where it scares me. And this is where, like, this dude, I've learned this, and this is the hardest part about ministry. Seen and Approve takes off. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, like, takes off. Like Lottie Moon Christmas offering, International Mission Board, like
Yeah.
on that level. Why?
Yeah.
Well, because the tomb is empty, anything's
Mhm.
possible. So I'm going to believe by God's word. I'm just going to be obedient. We're going to take it to the
Mhm.
ends of the earth,
Yeah.
right? And he talks about loving the widow, loving the poor, loving the sick, loving the homeless, loving the prisoner. Like, well, I'm going to love the kid who, statistically speaking, is all of these,
Mhm.
right? And so if that takes off, that's great. I don't disciple my family,
Mm.
bro. That's what keeps me up at night.
Mhm.
I got two kids. My greatest achievement in life is the day I get to baptize them.
Mm.
Bro, that's what I'm looking forward to. And then
Yeah.
the day that I get to see them again in heaven.
Mhm.
That's where I am just like, man, I don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
And I think going back to what is a man of God? A man of God at first fights for his family
Mhm.
above everything else.
Mhm.
And that is hard. 1000% that is hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect at it because I'll go hang out with you guys all day, and I'll have, for the most part, I'll have the most mild temper. I'll have all the patience. I'll have, sure, I basically can get like cussed out, and like I still won't do anything.
Mhm.
my son looks at me wrong, like just like looks at me, like he'll just
Uh,
like raise an eyebrow, and I'll be ready to fight. And I'm like, bro, I'll fight a 3-year-old right now.
yeah.
And it's just like I think about Paul in Romans, and it's like I do what I don't want to do, and I don't know why I do what I don't want to do, and it's just like I hate it. It's like this is me. But man, like that's the fight
hmm
I want to win, and I think true men of God, like that's the most important fight.
hmm
Like I heard, went to a forming men's conference. I know we're getting late on time, but I heard him, John Tyson, talk about this. Him and Jefferson Bethsky um, talk about you your relationship with God. Obviously, this probably is the most important thing. Then your relationship with your family, and then your relationship with your community. And he kind of put it in an old like tribal sense of like, okay, you in your room with the Lord, right? That's what you got to take care of first.
hmm
Then once you walk out of that room, like once you have your quiet time, once you're seeking the Lord daily, then you have your house, right? And then in the tribal times, you have and your house is your family, and then you have the city gates, so your community.
hmm
I said, bro, no business you being at the city gate if your house is on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember him saying that, and this is all kind of when Seen and Approve is starting,
hmm
and I'm like, that's so true. Like that can't happen.
Yeah.
And so like, what I want more than anything else is for my 2 kids to know Jesus loves them,
hmm
and their dad loves them,
hmm
and their mom loves them, and all that. But like, man, I you got to win the fight at home
Yeah.
before Seen and Approve ever does anything else, because
hmm
you know, Seen and Approve, Lord willing, will live past me.
hmm
But what I do with my 2 kids that God's given me, and they're not really mine, they're His kids. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's our job, and truly that's the thing that I'm learning. Like these aren't my kids.
hmm
Like yes, they have the same last name. Yes, they technically have my DNA, but this is just God's kids, and you know we're just so grateful that God blessed my wife and I to be able to steward these kids back to Him. That's why they're here. They're not for us. They're not for our consumption. They're to steward to Him because He was the one that made it happen. We didn't
hmm
do anything. But yeah, man, that's where if Seen and Approved goes great, awesome. But I want my house to be right first, and then whatever avenue God runs down for Seen and Approved, bro, let's run down it.
Dude,
Let's do it.
that's awesome. Like, especially like Scene Improved is awesome. I love it. I love the idea of it and what it all does. And I even like the example you said, like, I'm gonna allow God to move first. Like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna step away. I'm not
No.
gonna step forward because then if I step forward, who knows where I'm gonna
Yeah.
end up. He knows the way it should go. He knows where it should go, and I should stay on that path. And I even look the same with evangelism and this and
Yeah.
all this great things is in even what he says, like if one
Yeah.
of them ends up with a happy house, if one of them ends up with a great relationship,
Mhm.
one of them ends up with a happy family with children and having all of that
Mhm.
because of seeing improved, that is an accomplishment. That's the same thing I think about all the time
Yeah.
with evangelism. Like if I could save
Yeah.
one life,
Yeah.
my life is there.
Yeah.
That is more than any accomplishment, any worldly thing I could do, any crowd of people I could talk to,
Yeah.
any stadium I could fill.
Yeah.
One person getting saved,
Yeah.
it amounts over all of that.
Yeah.
And obviously, like like you said, just your family's first, your house is
Yeah.
first, and all that because that is your number one objective to disciple. Your number
Yeah.
one, like obviously, like in marriage, like you are one in marriage, and then you obviously have your children. Like those are
Mhm.
yours to disciple. Those are the first people that God personally gave you. Like the God's like
Mhm.
put you in this in your life for
Mhm.
you to disciple and for you to grow up in. And I think it's just awesome, like just everything and what you've done and the
Yeah.
influence you have on this community, your house, and even just every person that you've touched is, just amazing. Obviously, seeing improved is great, and
Yeah.
you're just spreading out more and more and helping more people's
Yeah.
lives, like you've helped mine, and probably doing a lot more in other people's lives as well. And I think it's just awesome. So,
Yeah.
I just want to end this off how I end off every episode, just with some prayer and
Yeah.
just pray for everyone and
Yeah.
obviously pray for this conversation end, and hopefully it spreads out to
Yeah.
all the nations in every tongue.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Dear Heavenly Father, I just pray, and I'm so thankful for this conversation today I just had with Coach Bode and being able to spread it towards everyone. And I just pray everyone who's watching this is able to truly soak it in and just truly to understand every word and to just rely on it and to just look at it and apply it to their lives. I just pray that we are able to save a soul with this. I just pray that whoever is watching this feels encouraged to just follow you, to pick up your cross and just go forward and just follow you in every single way, to put a knee down to you, Lord, and just let you sit on the throne of their life, to love you and to disciple their families with you and just disciple their community with you. And just I just pray this encourages the person watching to just follow you and trust in you for the rest of their lives. And you're going to pray, amen.
Amen.
So yeah, that's, Scene Improve is awesome. And right now there's probably going to be a QR code right there just for people to go check out Scene Improve if they want to.
Sure.
It should be on the screen right now. And, that's going to be linked down in the bio. And I just, appreciate this. It's definitely going to have you on again. And because this is awesome. We got more in store. We, had a little bit of time limit, but hey, just more time to have the spirit move and more people to hear. So yeah, I
absolutely.
appreciate having you, and we'll see you guys next time on Living Truth in Troubled Times.